We look at 3 options to drastically improve the Sharks' blue line.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be looking at 3 defensemen who are kind of more in the middle class of projected contracts that would drastically change the blue line, or potentially change the blue line for the San Jose Sharks. We're going to be looking at Dante Fabbro, Vladislav Gavrikov, and Ryan Lindgren, who are all free agents this year and have all been kind of projected names, or at least I know ones that Sharks fans have potentially looked at. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Okay, we're going to start with one player who I know a lot of Sharks fans are very excited and have circled, highlighted, bolded out, whatever you want to do, to however you select a guy. We're going to start with Dante Fabbro here in a second, but we've looked at all the kind of the top names in free agency with Marner and Ehlers and Ekblad and everybody else. And now we're going to start kind of looking at that middle class of free agency and guys where I think Mike Grier is going to do most of his potential shopping. As again, Sharks have $40 million in cap space, and you have to spend roughly $20 million or so just to kind of get comfortably over the cap floor. And we know the Sharks want to be better this year. And these are 3 players who could potentially help your blue line, right? Especially with Askarov coming in. The Sharks need to inject some talent into the blue line. And we're going to be looking at 3 guys who all do a little bit different things, but could all potentially help out a little bit. So let's start with Dante Fabbro. Fabbro is a former first-round pick by the Nashville Predators. Went to Boston University, red flag, ding, 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 whatever you want to highlight there. He's 6 foot, 189-pound right-handed defenseman. He spent the majority of his career playing with the Nashville Predators. This last season was placed on waivers and claimed by the Blue Jackets, where he really had a nice season for the Blue Jackets. So he's played 7 years in the NHL, 377 games, has about 100 career points in that time. Again, mostly playing for the Preds. And so let's get to kind of dig into him a little bit more here. So coming off a 1-year deal at $2.5 million AAV. He's 26. He'll turn 27 here in a couple weeks, mid-June. So he's still kind of in that prime of his career right now. So 68 games, 6 of them were with the Preds, the rest with the Blue Jackets. And basically all the numbers here are with the Blue Jackets because he didn't do much with the Preds. So, but he had 9 goals, 17 assists, 89 shots on goal, played 20.54 average time on ice. Corsi for 50.58. So when he was on the ice, his team took 50.58 of the shot attempts. Goals for 57.41. So when he was on the ice, they scored 57.41 of the goals for. Fabbro, again, playing really good minutes, 86th percentile defenseman, 85th percentile offense. His expected goals above replacement was really good. Goals above replacement was like, it feels like there's some potential meat on the bone there with that, where he's could be scoring more actually. 79th percentile defensively. Didn't play much on the power play. We'll put a pin in that right now. Kind of played second unit shorthanded minutes. So mostly kind of 5-on-5 player for the Blue Jackets this year. Player who's been ascending over the past couple seasons. So 68th percentile WAR. That's a 3-year average of his wins above replacement. So good offensively, good defensively, solid, like good goals, playing against pretty good competition, 75th percentile competition, has had good teammates, which is something to keep in mind, but he's a guy who I think his stock is kind of ascending right now. The 22-23 season, his WAR percentile rank was like below 50%. Last year, it was about 50%. This year, 75%. So it's a guy who's really gotten better over the past couple seasons, both and his offense and his defense have both been good as well. So he's also gotten faced tough competition, but has gotten good offensive deployment as well, and is kind of considered an effective top 4 two-way defenseman. So Fabbro, who again right-handed, the Sharks don't really have a player like him in the lineup right now, right? And if you're looking at a potential Jake Walman-type or Jake Walman 2.0 type of player, I think Fabbro is your guy, guy who can help transport the puck, can help provide a little bit of scoring. I think there's some meat on the bone there with the potential scoring, and kind of live that Jake Walman role for you, right? And Walman was very good the first half of the season, got hurt, and it really wasn't the same player the second half. Before he got traded, he's been performing pretty well, I'd say, for the Edmonton Oilers, especially in the postseason here. But if you're looking for that Jake Walman 2.0, I think Fabbro is your guy. Big question is, though, he's never been the guy, right? And he would be that for the Sharks, right? Last year, you had Werenski for the Blue Jackets. You've had Roman Josi ahead of him for the Preds. Like, he's never had to be the guy because there's always just been like a legit number one defenseman in front of him. So we know the Sharks are going to continue to have to play defense by committee right now until a number one defenseman shows up either via trade or one of your prospects kind of grows into that role. But if you're going to be doing it, I think Fabbro is a guy I think worth betting on to at least kind of potentially hold down or be a bridge type of player for you over the next couple seasons. So looking at his projected contract, and all these guys' contracts are going to be pretty similar here. So they're still upper market of the defensive class, but I don't think these are break the bank type of contracts. And these are contracts that I don't think are going to like sour on you compared to some of the other ones here. So Fabbro is expected to sign a 5-year deal at $5.5 million. So there's a 32.7% likelihood that is the contract that he signs this off season. So, there's also some at like 3, it's probably going to be 3 to 6 years within that like $5 to $6 million type of money, which again, those type of contracts I think that's, I think, the sweet spot for the Sharks, right? Of just adding talent to this roster. So, I do know Fabbro and David Quinn do go back. I know David Quinn's no longer with the organization, but Fabbro and Quinn go back. I know Quinn is someone who's really likes Fabbro's game. So you do wonder if like Ryan Warsofsky would probably also be someone interested in a guy like Dante Fabbro. So there is that little bit of that connection there as well. And with, again, the Boston University thing, Mike Greer, red like circle highlights, whatever you wanted to do there, highlight or yes, bold, italicized quotations, however you want to mark it. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So there is like I said, the projection is the big question, right? Is what happens when he's the guy and you don't have that shelter from a guy like Werenski or from Roman Josi, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think, like, again, the Sharks just don't have a player like Dante Fabbro, and he's a player who has been playing some of his best hockey over the past couple seasons. So I think you're getting him kind of at the right time if you are able to sign him. Blue Jackets do also have a bajillion dollars of cap space like the Sharks. But I know that they have also, talking to our friend Jay at Locked On Blue Jackets, they're also wanting to try to get some of their younger defensemen that they've been drafting and developing and getting those guys a little bit more kind of in the pipeline. I think they want to rework their blue line a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dante Fabbro is let go, or not let go, but does make it to free agency. But I think for the Sharks, like, that would be a huge, huge addition for you. And he's kind of, for me personally, the current leader in the clubhouse of guys I would like to sign on the blue line, because I think he could do a lot for the Sharks, and an area that they need a lot of help in. So we're going to look at if you like big boy shutdown hockey, we're going to be looking at Gavrikov, and he is your dude. So we talk about him in just 1 second. If you ever check your bank account, wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, or if you're like me, just buying snacks for your children, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, before we continue with Gavrikov, do, of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe as we continue to gear up and kind of do our homework right now, getting you ready for the draft and free agency. All this work, right? All these free agents, all the draft profiles we're doing, going towards a simulated offseason where we're going to make all the signings, all the draft pieces, all the trades, everything like that. So I will 100% be wrong, but I'm going to do what I think Mike Greer does. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Okay. Again, if you like big boy, shut it down, defensive hockey, Vladislav Gavrikov is your dude. 6'3", 220-pound left-handed defenseman, former 6th round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I should have just had Jay come on to do this show. He played over in Russia before coming to North America. Spent a couple seasons with the Blue Jackets before getting traded to the LA Kings as part of the Jonas Korpisalo deal, where the Blue Jackets got a first-round pick out of it. He has played 6 years in the NHL, 435 games. He's a guy who's going to be in the lineup night in, night out. Like, played 82 games this year, 77 last year. Played 72 games in the season, or he got traded. That's like kind of his low, basically, for a guy who's he's going to come over and play every night. He averages over like 21 minutes a night in his time. Like, he is set it and forget it type of player. So looking at kind of this season for him, final year of a 2-year deal at $5.88 million. Played all 82 games, like I said. 5 goals, 25 assists, 112 shots on goal. Played 23.05 average time on ice for the Kings. Corsi for 54.87. Goals for 59.22. Outstanding number right there. So when he was on the ice, the Kings basically scored 59% of the goals. A goal was scored. Yeah, anyway. When he was on the ice, any goal that was scored is 59% likelihood that it was the Kings doing it. So very good numbers there. Shut it down. 84th percentile defenseman this year, playing, again, first-line minutes. 33rd percentile offensively. 98th percentile defensively. Played a ton, 5-on-5. Not much on the power play, which you'd expect. Played massive shorthanded minutes as well. Just an absolute rock on the blue line there. 76 percentile WAR, so his wins above replacement over the past 3 years. Again, 93 percentile defense, PK 82nd percent. Like, not much offense, and that's not what you're paying him for. But he's playing tough competition. 92 percentile competition. 91. He's got good teammates, as you would expect as a first. But really saw like defense kind of took a little bit of a plunge last year, but really found like returned to form this year. Like, this is a guy who you're going to come in, like he's going to come in, he's going to change how the defense plays. I think the most impressive thing about Gavrikov is he took like very few offensive zone starts and was still putting up those type of quality number, like, analytical numbers. So facing insanely tough competition. So Gavrikov is a guy who I think would help change the tone of your blue line if you sign him. And yes, I know the Sharks have a bajillion left-handed defensemen, right? But nobody does what Gavrikov does on the Sharks unit. And he's a player who would help, I think, is a win-win type of player because one, right, he's going to help your defense immensely because he's very good at what he does. You're going to get a little bit of offense, but that offense is not his game, right? He is here to shut you down and make things hard for the other team. Especially as a big boy, and he's a big boy, a Mike Greer type of defenseman, that 6'3", 220. That's a big boy out there. The other thing too is he also makes the Kings worse if they don't re-sign him because they don't have him, right? And the Kings are a playoff caliber team. And while the Sharks aren't the same competition as the same realm as the Kings right now, it's not going to be too long until the Sharks are pushing for the playoffs. And Gavrikov would really help, and especially for a team that's going to have a young goalie in Askarov, kind of be a full-time NHL player. Investing in a guy like Gavrikov would make a lot of sense for San Jose. And again, you have a lot of cap space. So it's not like you, with any of these players, it's not an either or type of situation. Like, oh man, we can only get Dante Fabbro. Oh man, we can only get Gavrikov. You can happily sign both and probably should try to sign both, to be honest. But I think Gavrikov would be a massive piece in really trying to change what we think of this blue line here, which has been not great over the past couple of seasons here. So, and again, guys, he is 30. So that's one thing you're going to have to kind of keep in mind. We're going to about ready to be 30 in November. But I think the contract here makes a lot of sense for him. So he is projected to sign a 4-year deal at $5.6 million, 28.5% likelihood be from Evolving Hockey. You can see upwards of 6 years at 6.2 or 2 years at like 4.6. But I think with his age and stuff, like this is probably feels like a fair contract where by the time it's over, it's going to be like he'll be 34 by the time this contract is over. The big thing is I think with Gavrikov is I think he's going to be a very hot commodity because of how well he plays. And I feel like a lot of teams who are more in the mix are going to be looking at Gavrikov as kind of that final piece, whereas the Sharks will look at him as like you're helping to kind of change everything around here. So we'll see. But if the Sharks are in a position to try to sign Gavrikov, like that is, I think, would be a huge part in trying to revamp this blue line, which really, again, you need to add some talent, and Gavrikov is a very talented player. Would really help to change what you think about the Sharks and their defense if they were able to sign him. So finally, we're going to look at Ryan Lindgren, who had a bit of a down year. We're going to discuss, is this a blip on the radar or a sign of things to come with him? So we'll get to that in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up with Lindgren, I do want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, final player we're going to be looking at, Ryan Lindgren. Lindgren is a former second-round pick. He just turned 27 in February. He played so he's actually drafted by Boston, and then played for Minnesota, so another college guy. He got to, how did he get to? So he was traded by the Bruins way back in 2018 to the Rangers, part of the Rick Nash deal way back in the day. So has spent 7 years in NHL, mostly with the Rangers, got traded at part of the deadline to Colorado this season, but he's played 405 games in the NHL. 102 points during that time. Not really known for his offense, but again, just you're trying to add talented players along the blue line here. So this season, so also 6 foot, 194 pounds, left-handed shot, which again, I know I'm just trying to find good players, guys, right now. And he is coming off a contract at 1 year at $4.5 million. His time between the Rangers and the Avs, played 72 games, 4 goals, 18 assists with 63 shots on goal, 1942 average time on ice, 50.13 Corsi for, 46.53 goals for. Evolving hockey card, playing second pairing minutes, not super great. 7th percentile, 9th percentile offensively, 12th percentile defensively. Didn't play like anything on the power play. Played shorthanded minutes and wasn't super effective with them as well. Looking at his advanced hockey stats, really the last couple seasons he's gone from a like 50% WAR player to a 0% WAR, with the offense never really kind of being there and the defense cratering over the past couple seasons. Played kind of middle of the pack competition. Has usually had pretty at least quality teammates on the ice with him. And then looking at his usage, like he's gotten decent quality of competition while getting decent offensive zone starts and hasn't really put up super great numbers. So I think it comes down to, with Lindgren, do you feel that maybe with the Rangers, who definitely performed under expectations this season, and right, they got a new head coach, like we know they've gone through a lot of changes, right? Do you feel like maybe a change of scenery and a new coach, not having to kind of deal with the Rangers' expectations, et cetera, maybe that injects some life into him? Or I think the big question is, or is this a sign of things to come for a guy who maybe he's entering a different phase of his career with Lindgren? So you look at his time on ice has gone down, it's kind of fluctuated. So this year with the Rangers, he's playing about 1950, almost 20 minutes a night. And then with the Avs, he's playing 19 minutes a night. So pretty similar with them. Did have a little bit more offensive production with the Avs, but he's facing, again, he's not kind of facing the tough competition because you have just guys ahead of him on the depth chart. So out of the 3 guys, he's the guy I would be most weary of signing for the Sharks, because I think he's a guy who is on the decline and should be more seen as like a third pair type of defenseman, while Gavrikov is legit a number 1 defenseman. And Fabbro, you're hoping the projection that like he can be a top line defenseman for you while you wait for like a bridge quarterback type of defenseman. Lindgren, I feel like the Sharks have a lot of these type of players already on the roster. And I think there's just a little bit too much redundancy with him. And if you're going to have a guy like Lindgren, I'd rather just play Shakir Mukhamadullin, right? Or play, whomever else you want to pick on your roster. Looking at the contract here. So he is expected to sign a 4-year deal at $4.8 million. 26% likelihood. Some of the other ones that kind of stand out, either a 3-year deal at 4.3 or a 5-year deal at 5.4. So again, right in line with the other contracts, but out of the three, I feel like, again, this is the one that I think would potentially age the worst. And there's a chance that like maybe he gets to another place and maybe playing kind of second pairing minutes, he would be an effective defenseman, kind of return to being an effective defenseman again. And then hopefully, kind of ages gracefully into a third pair defenseman by the end of that contract. But I don't know if it makes sense for the Sharks, right? Because again, I feel like if you're going to get a guy like Lindgren, I'd rather just play like Mario Ferraro, right, who you already have under contract for this season, or play Shakir Mukhamadullin, who I feel has easily a much higher ceiling than him, or whomever else you want to pick. If it's I'd rather just play one of those guys than go out and sign Lindgren to this type of contract. So he's kind of a pass for me. I think the rating's on the wall with him, and I think we're seeing a downward slide. While the other guys like like Fabbro, I feel like you're seeing an uptick in play, and Gavrikov I think is going to be steady as a rock for. I don't want to say Vlasic-esque, but I feel like you're going to get really quality play for him throughout the lifetime of his contract. Lindgren scares me, man. I don't know why. Lindgren scares me, and it could just be like, if it was like a 1-year thing where maybe you've been really good and you kind of dipped for 1 year, right? And then you could at least talk yourself, but it's been 2 years of this. And yeah, it worries me. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back. You might actually get 2 episodes tomorrow. So we'll be back for sure with a crossover with our good friend Gil from the Isles. We're going to be talking about that first and second pick. So that's going to be really fun. Then we'll probably you will get another episode with free agents. We're going to be looking at 3 forwards. Again, the Sharks need to add some forwards as well. So we're going to be looking at 3 of these kind of middle-class forwards for the Sharks, and who can kind of help maybe be the next Tyler Toffoli for them. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at MyFryhole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.